really a horrible situation, but...
Was it a bait and switch?
Well, not really. I mean, she was advertising that she sells these particular designers. You go in there, you try it on, the label is there sewn into the sample, you try it on, you order it. But when my dress didn't arrive until 2 months before my wedding, and then when I was trying it on, there was no actual label in there. What you have to do, even if you want to do something like this and you want to go for a particular designer, I ended up calling down to New York City to the actual designer and asked them, do you work with this particular business? No, we haven't for years.
Shocking.
So this is something, you know, it was one of those wake-up calls for me, and we were able to obviously tell people, hey, listen, if this is going to happen to you, find out if you want to.
You know, my sister-in-law had a similar thing happen where someone was working on a dress. She ended up calling the designer and going straight to the designer herself. The thing that's interesting, what she did, what a lot of brides are doing now, is lying about their wedding date. So to make sure, to the seamstress, to say, listen, it's a month earlier.
Right.
That way you know that even if they're running late, something happens, they have a false date.
Absolutely. I mean, she'll tell you, things happen and you have to be so aware. Reception halls, also think about that.
That's going to be my next question.
Yes, Vince, because, you know, it's the recession. And we've done tons of stories about this, and one including the Abbey Grill. That was such a devastating blow to the community, because this had been a staple in the community for years. We had interviewed this young lady, Brianna, who was getting married, and just literally not even 2 months before her wedding, the grill filed for bankruptcy.
Do they get to keep your
$6,500?
Gone.
No.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do. And, you know, we talked, I know Sean did a story about wedding insurance, and I can't stress enough, if you're spending $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on your wedding, you know what, for a few $100.
That's a cheap wedding today.
It is, I know, Vince. So just spend a few extra $100 and get your wedding insurance as well, because that can be a nightmare, certainly. And the other thing I wanted to tell you that's coming up actually tonight.
Yeah, what time are you're doing the wedding horror story tonight?
5:45 tonight, and it's in regards to a Cranston couple. This great, Cranston, yes, they were Cranston. Wonderful couple. Last September they got married. They hired a videographer. This was the second marriage for her, so it was a very special one. They had their children in it. He came out. They had the videotape the ceremony, the reception. 9 months ago, gave him $300, and guess what?
I haven't heard from him.
Right. Well, we have a little bit of an update, so you're going to have to stay tuned tonight at 5:45 to see what happens. But, you know, again, these things happen. You have to be on your toes and be ready for anything.
You really got to be proactive.
You do,
From
Vince.
beginning to end.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, one of my groomsmen fainted.
Oh.
That's what we had to be on our toes for as I was saying my vows.
As long as it wasn't the groom, I guess that's okay.
Mine couldn't find his ring. My ring.
You know, I feel bad for Courtney because, Courtney, you're in the middle of planning a wedding and hearing all these horror stories. I hope you just plugged your ears during the whole thing.
My heart is beating really fast. I don't know why. I think I'm just starting to get that panic-stricken.
I'm not so sure.
That's normal.
But, okay, so we're going through what could be the worst thing that could happen at your wedding here on the live blog on foxprovidence.com. And Lisa says the reception hall going bankrupt would absolutely be one of the worst things. Brandy says my mother-in-law standing up and objecting, I so thought was going to happen at mine, but it didn't. And then Lisa also thinks the vendor not showing up could be a pretty bad thing as well. So we have some choices here on our web poll, foxprovidence.com. We're asking which of these would be your worst wedding nightmare. A, losing the wedding rings. B, staining your wedding gown for all of you brides out there. C, a wedding vendor not showing up. Or D, really bad weather. And with this, I'm thinking like hurricane, not rain, because rain's a good thing, but, you know, really inclement, big snowstorm. But you guys can log on now and check out that poll. But I will be back in 30 minutes with the official results. But for now, we're going to head into the kitchen. What else are we doing with the cake today?